I'm just going to be here to share with you just some tools that we have come across that we've created on our team at Newcomer Connections to really help us in our work in RAP, and really some things that we have found to be very helpful when we're handing over our clients to our settlement team. That I'm just going to share with you. I've asked my colleagues, I have some samples of some of the tools that I'm going to be talking about. They are not by any stretch of the imagination anything like the RAP handbook. They are not IRCC made or approved. They are ones that we have just internally used on our teams. I hope that you'll be able to look at them, listen to what I have to say about them, and just glean some information from them that might help you on your teams. Some of the things are very specific to how we do things at our SPO that may be very different the way you do yours. But I hope that you will find some useful information from what we're going to share with you here today that you can use on your own teams as you do your work in RAP and as you hand off your clients to settlement. So I'm going to be going through kind of how a lot of the things that we do really have to do with how we're capturing and documenting our information, and how we keep that information, how we pass that information along. And so we use a CRM system. We use Salesforce to record all of our client information with our NARs that we record the information from. There's a lot of information that we're taking and putting in. And so some of these other documents I'm going to talk about are just ways that we kind of pull pieces of that information out to be useful in our hands as we do our day-to-day work. If you don't use some type of, I'm sure probably everybody has some way that you keep your data that you use to keep your clients organized with their information. I am not a details person. I'm more a big picture person. So I rely on these tools so much for my day-to-day when I'm trying to find information. If you record them and take the time to put in your information, you will find this to be useful in, when your program officer calls on a Friday afternoon and needs some information that you may not have at the touch of a finger. You can get it if you keep track of things like this. So I would recommend to use it as some type of system, even if it's just a spreadsheet or whatever you do to record your information as you go along. We know in RAP, it's chaotic. We don't know what's going to happen from day to day. Nothing ever goes as planned. We have a plan of our 21 days to do what we think we're going to do, and it never happens the way we think it's going to. So having some tools at your fingertips to keep yourself organized, I think will help us all in the long run. So if you look in that little packet that I gave you, there is, let's see, I'm going to refer to it. Just kind of the front page of our CRM, of our Salesforce that we use when we're recording kind of our information. You'll see Donald Duck's name there. He's our kind of our dummy client that we have put in the system. So we do have, we just record all the basic information that you would expect to use. We use this information to do our referrals. So if we're going to be referring internally or externally, we have tick boxes that we can tick boxes that will send emails automatically to our teams that will say, okay, I'm referring somebody to Swiss, I'm referring somebody, our Francophone SPO that is in St. John. We have a tick box that will send an email automatically to them to say, here's our client, here's their information, they're here, they want some information on your services. We, on and on, we have different referrals that we use through this system as well. I'm going to go ahead here. Yeah, so in Salesforce. So yeah, we do to our link programs, to our English programs to get people started on their classes on the wait list for CLB testing. All of those things we're able to use a tick box to be able to send a direct email to get clients started onto the next steps in settlement. We have a way, I'm not going to get into this because I don't know the ins and outs of it. We have a wonderful data management person, Isa. She does all of this stuff for us, but she has integrated our iCare entries right into our Salesforce, which has for us been fantastic. We're able to kind of give our teams and all of our employees a little bit of a prompt so that they can, when they're doing their reporting, it's helpful. There's a list that comes down. There's descriptions of activities. There's, okay, I think you want to do this, click on this. And it really helps to keep us organized that way. Again, tracking our KPIs, things that we want to keep track of in RAP that we might not be reflected in our iCare entries, but how long has it taken us to house somebody? How many people are staying in St. John? These are things that we use with our board of management that they're able to share with the community and share with funders and share with people that just to be able to really support us in the work that we do if we're able to tell a story, and numbers and data can do that for us too. Yeah, and we have a spot that I have found helpful. In working with complex cases, we have a spot that's a confidential notes, and not everybody has access to it, but some of our complex caseworkers and people that are working with some complex issues, there's a spot where we can record information to be able to go back to. So it's useful to managers and supervisors to go in when they're trying to find some information to make referrals or to help clients out. It's something else that we find to be helpful for us. We do a Microsoft Outlook to-do list. I don't know if you guys are, if you're checklist kind of people, like I told you, I am not a details person. I don't even like a checklist, actually. It's too confining for me at times, but we need to do this. So this came up probably in the last 2 or 3 years, really when we saw a huge, probably when we had our charter flights come in, when we had a huge influx of clients. Our team grew. We had a lot of people doing a lot of things at the same time, and we didn't always communicate that well. We were always running around, you don't always know what the other person on your team is doing. So this was a way that we would create a master checklist, and I put a copy of just what ours looks like there. Yours may or may not look like that, but we would put all the different pieces from the RAP handbook that we use that as our kind of our guide, made a checklist. Then we would share it with our entire team, and we'd all share it. And then we would have the checklist to all of us on our emails too. And so if we were helping out a colleague, if we were doing something, we would have access to this checklist and tick it off as we go along. And this would be one of the last things that a RAP counselor would look at before they would get ready to hand off a client to settlement, to make sure they had done all the services, that they had everything done. And then if somebody else was helping them out to do something, they could go, oh, someone did that already. I don't have to do that twice. So that's been a useful tool for us as we go along day to day. Another sheet that I included there was, we call it our cheat sheet. This really evolved during a time when we were handing over a lot of clients at once. And we weren't always the best communicators that say, okay, I've done this, I've done that, I've done that. And writing it down in some place central where people could see. This was a lot to do with settlement kind of complained to us, like, okay, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? These issues were coming up with clients, especially around bill payments and getting rent payments done, paying people's electric bills. We work with Rogers to do their Wi-Fi setup and getting that account set up. This stuff, it all happens online now. If people had passwords, people would have account numbers. They would go to pay their bill the next month, didn't know what their password was, didn't know what their account number was. It was work that we had already spent time doing and recording, but we had failed to pass it on to our settlement team. And so they were redoing that work again when that first month went by, and they're paying their bills the next month. So we created this cheat sheet just to write all that stuff down, hand that off to the settlement counselor when we would meet with them. What else have we got? Our settlement checklist. So this one came from the settlement side. So we would have meetings sometimes with our settlement counterparts, and they would again say, okay, well, we need to know this, we need to know that. You didn't tell us this, you didn't tell us that. So they made a form for us. I said, okay, let's sit down, write down everything, every frustration you have, every time you think you're doing something twice that we've already done, write it down, make a list. Before you take on the clients, let's check off every single one of these things and make sure that both parties have communicated all of the information as we do that. So we do our handover in 2 steps. We do a pre-handover and a handover. So the pre-handover is an internal meeting only. We would, the team that's working, probably just the counselor, we could call ours RAP counselors. And if there's any other specialty kind of like complex cases or something with health, they would join that meeting too. But we would have an internal meeting to say, here's the client, go through some of these checklists I just talked about, talk about the client, kind of maybe some of the challenges that we see, kind of what we see in the future of them needing for services, and do an internal meeting. And then we have another meeting with the clients and with both teams, both the incoming settlement counselor and the RAP counselor. And we try to do this, if possible, it's not always possible. We try to do this in the client's new home. So this would happen after they would already move into their permanent accommodation, and just have it as a social time to say, here's Mitra, meet Mitra. She's going to be your new person to talk to. You've graduated your time with me. You're now on to the next step in your settlement, and kind of just make it a social time to meet each other. We make sure that I'm sure everybody uses WhatsApp, that everybody has their WhatsApp number in their phones, that they know how to get a hold of the new person. It can be a hard transition, I think, for both teams going from RAP to settlement. I always use the analogy of the RAP counselor is kind of like the kindergarten teacher. They're the one, the first face they remember at school, the one who holds their hand, the one who helps them, and it's hard for kids a lot of times to transition from that kindergarten teacher into their next grade. So it's hard for clients too to transition from the face they saw when they arrived in the airport, the people they've learned to trust, and vice versa. It's hard to make that transition. So we find in doing it in kind of these two steps, it's kind of, it's a graduation. You're stepping onto your next piece of your settlement, and it kind of becomes a process like that. So that's how we do that handover. I'm not going to go really into depth here. I'm sure we all have our own ways of doing this, but I just included two of our templates, and I can share these with you digitally if you want to get the formulas and everything that are in there. We do a housing session and a budget session, and we go through people's budget with them. And I think, like Olga said, like it goes in one ear and out the other, right? It's a high stress time during RAP. There's so many decisions that they're making and trying to get settled, and just, get used to a new home and a new life. And so finances are a stressful thing for anybody. And this is an important one that we have in their files, so that the settlement counselor, the settlement team is going to have to go through that again with them at some point. They're going to have to go through their budget. They're going to have to help them to see how they're going to pay their bills the next month, or help them to see what they shouldn't be buying and they should be spending it on this. So we try to go over that at our pre-handover meeting with our counselors too, so they fully understand the RAP income that's coming in, the expenses that we expect them to have, and so they can use those to help the clients through that budgeting and finances in the months to come. I think I already talked about our handover and pre-handover meetings. Yeah, so I think I already talked about most of that. So again, that's some of our settlement and RAP team there together. I use pictures of our team to show you, because checklists and CRMs don't make for very interesting visuals. So I thought I would share some of our team pictures with you. Just a little bit about team philosophy, not so much about a resource, but between the two teams, everyone's different here. Maybe a lot of your teams work very closely together. We work very closely together, but we are two separate teams in our SPO. Our RAP does the RAP work, and the settlement does their settlement work. We do have some shared staff, but primarily we're two different teams. And we really do need to build trust for those of us who are in RAP with our settlement teams. Like I said, it's not always easy to hand over our clients and to really just to be able to know that they're going to get the services they need. We sometimes, I forget, somebody said, RAP counselors can't, I think maybe RAP counselors can't do everything. Like, we can't do everything. But we feel that burden, right? When people first come and they need so much, we feel that burden that we need to do everything. But I would just encourage you to have that trust in your teams that you're handing off to know your RAP work well, and to know what you can do, and to know what your priorities are in those first weeks when you're working with your clients, and then to be able to hand them over with trust to your teams. We often hear about silos and building our silos. I do think silos are important. I don't want to bash silos, because RAP has a very important silo. We have, we do work. It's a different beast in the settlement world. Like, what we do in RAP is its own thing. And we have, over the years that we've heard from everyone already, we've built up this capacity to be able to offer this unique service and this unique program that we're able to offer refugees coming to Canada. And so there's so much built up there. It's very important that we look after that we have something to hold that in, that sustains it. But we do need to connect that to the rest of our settlement teams too. So we have to have a way, like I was talking about transitioning people into settlement from RAP without losing that capacity that we're building up. And I would just say, between your two teams, just take some time. I know it's hard when it's so busy and there's so much going on, but when you do get the chance, do share some time together with the RAP and settlement teams. We do what we call a huddle, and we do it once a month, and we bring both of our teams together. And we do some updates and some administrative stuff, but we really try to spend the time to share our wins and our goals of what we're working on and kind of what we want to see in the future and what we've accomplished. And it's just having that time to be able to share that together does help in the work that you do and help to add depth to your teams and to be able to contribute together to the goals you're trying to work for your clients. I don't know if I have another picture of that or not. No, I don't. I'm gonna go back there. So Ahmed, who's here over here at this table, he's wearing this red hat. I'll just tell you the story of this is our RAP cap that we call it. So this started off when our team was much bigger on our RAP side, and we would do it on our internal weekly meetings, and we would pass the cap, a tip of the hat, to a team member that had done something significant that week and had helped the team out that week. So we would pass it on. And now that we've kind of melded our settlement and RAP teams together, we don't have a real new name for that, I don't think, guys. Yeah, we call it the lucky hat, I think is what we've called it most recently. But so when we get together in our huddles, we, again, after everyone's had a time to share their wins, whoever had the RAP cap last will take the RAP cap and then pass it on to another team member and kind of tell the story of how they've seen them contributing to the team and helping the team out that week. So whatever it is on your teams, take some time to spend some time together, not in the chaos of the work, but just in enjoying each other and in what you can accomplish together. And so, yeah. And if you want to get any of the resources that I shared with you, I can send them to you digitally if you want any of them. They are things that like I said, we've kind of custom made to our SPO. But if you would like to get them, please contact me. I have my team over here. There's 5 of us all together here. They can share with you too. So please, if we can answer any questions or pass on any resources to you, we would love to do that. Thank you.